What's the point of being legible when nothing inspires you to take notice of it? This famous quote by Wolfgang Weingart truly embodies the foundation of the works and contributions made through his career, resulting in him being known as the father of the new wave. I'm Peter Swanson, a student at Front Range Community College, and in this video I will be sharing about the life of Wolfgang Weingart, as well as the significance and impact left by Weingart, highlighted through his works in creating new wave, also known as Swiss punk typography. Coupled with this, I will also give inserts throughout the video in regards to things that stand out to me personally, and hopefully you as well. Let's jump into it. Weingart was born in southern Germany in 1941, with World War II spanning across his early childhood. As a child, he lived in the town named Constance, near the border of Switzerland, for 13 years, then moving to Libsyn with his family until eventually, in 1958, moving back to Germany to begin studies at Mayer's Academy in Stuttgart for 2 years. This is where he began learning typesetting, woodblock print, and linocut. Weingart then went on to work as a typeset apprentice in hot metal hand composition at Rouet Printing. During this apprenticeship, he was introduced to Carl August Henk, who was the company's consulting designer. This led Henk to become Weingart's mentor, urging him to pursue his studies more in Switzerland. In 1963, Weingart would come to meet Emil Reuter and Armin Hoffmann in Basel, Switzerland. He would later credit these two for being key influences to him. In a year's time, he would then move to Basel, enrolling as an independent student at the Basel School of Design. Later, in 1968, Weingart was invited to teach typography at the institution's newly made art school, where Hoffmann was teaching. In my opinion, this move would have immense impact on Weingart's future, in large part due to Hoffmann being surrounded by like-minded designers who were not as focused in the strict principles that Swiss style entailed. When I began teaching in 1968, classical, so-called Swiss typography was still commonly practiced by designers throughout Switzerland in our schools. Its conservative design dogma and strict limitations stifled my playful, inquisitive, experimental temperament, and I reacted strongly against it. Weingart. This quote from Weingart depicts his design philosophy at the time, which is why I believe when he began teaching, Weingart truly began to craft his style by being surrounded by peers with similar ideology in design. A trait that really came to my attention while researching about Weingart was, although Weingart taught his students, he also learned a great deal from those students he taught as well. From first-hand experience, I can definitely relate to this. In high school, with my own art teachers, we bounced around our thoughts and creations with one another. In turn, this assisted us a great deal in crafting our own styles as well as improving our peers, building a magnificent creative environment allowing us to grow together. In the early 1970s, Weingart would go on to release one of his most renowned design works known today as New Wave or Swiss punk typography. The New Wave design could be described as a culmination of Swiss modern and postmodern contrast, with many geometric shapes and patterns all pulled together, creating what we now know as New Wave design. What really caught my eyes was the way Weingart's style really encapsulated the geometrical shapes in a very bold fashion. This was done by drawing my eyes into the text and giving a great flow to his designs. The shapes then directed my attention to the key text, and I also found the way he sculpts the imagery with his masterful geometrical shape arrangement extremely captivating to my eyes. Jumping back to the timeline, from here on, Weingart would continue to teach for over 40 years. This spanned across multiple different countries such as North America, South America, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. From 1978 to 1999, Weingart was a renowned member of the Alliance Graphique Internationale, or AGI. Then, in 2005, he was awarded an honorary doctorate in fine arts. Weingart would sadly pass away on July 12, 2021 in Germany. However, through the contributions of New Wave typography and the many students he had inspired, Wolfgang Weingart will undoubtedly be referenced and remembered in the worlds of typography and graphic design. Let's dive a little deeper into Weingart's works in New Wave as well as a few other striking designs. You might be curious about what elements go into a new wave design. New wave, or Swiss punk, which Weingart crafted, is a typography-based design style. It's centered around bold contrasting colors, repetition throughout the artwork, pixelated type, and a broken grid. This was all then melded together to create these new wave designs. This image is an example of one of Weingart's round compositions. His round compositions, like this one, were crafted from arranging tiny typefaces in a circular shape and using cardboard to hold it all together. Some of these compositions would later be regarded as some of his most outstanding works. This is an image of a Weingart line picture. It was created through the intentional assortment of a 10x10 grid made from L-hooks screwed into a square wooden board. This use of material I find quite fascinating personally. Its creative use of everyday objects to create an intricate set of patterns truly inspires me. I for one know I will be experimenting with this through the use of custom brushes or templates in Photoshop or Illustrator in my own creations going forward. Last but certainly not least, this UCLA college poster is one of my favorite works by Weingart. It was designed in the late 90s for a college in LA. Weingart used a photocopier to create the multicolored imagery displayed by swapping between red, green, blue, and black ink cartridges. Then it was run through a photocopier numerous times. I really love the way the colors and shapes pop on the plain white background. Paired with the textures added by the blacks by shaping the letters, really makes the whole design come together for me personally. Hopefully this has been an eye-opening glimpse into the immaculate works of Weingart. I know for a fact that I, for one, was blown away by the unexpected creativity in bold works crafted and designed by him. If I had to choose the most prominent takeaway I learned from Weingart, it would have to be this. Wolfgang Weingart, the father of New Wave, should be remembered for inspiring artists to dive into the creativity of their art and to go after their own ideas to discover for themselves if it's practical or not.